This is a quick review of the PAG240T. I did a previous review this morning showing the compass, and I'm just going to do a lengthier review, going into more detail about the watch. This is the watch, how it looks on my wrist, as you see there. And the clasp is a double locking clasp. I have 7-inch wrist, and that's how it looks in a 7-inch wrist. It's very light to wear. It's not heavy at all. It's a titanium watch, and I believe the case body is mostly plastic and might have some bit of titanium on the side there, and with stainless steel case back. So that's how it looks. It's very comfortable. It's a very good looking watch when you wear it. It's very rugged. It looks like a military kind of theme with the colors, the gray, and that sort of titanium brown silver color. I put Scotch tape over the clasp right there, as you see there, to prevent it from scratching. I might return it. I've had it for about a week and a half about, and I've used it on a week-long backpacking trip last week, upstate New York. So I'm not happy with some features on it, and I may possibly return it tomorrow. It's Sunday today, so I may return it back to the department store tomorrow. Because it's a $300 watch, and you pay $300 for a watch like this, you kind of want to be 100% satisfied with what it says it should be able to do. You should be satisfied with that, with a promise. But it's a good watch overall. It's one of the better looking Protreks next to the PAW1100T, which I reviewed a few months ago. But this one, it looks like the original PRG40 series watch. Is a PRG40 titanium PRG40T and a regular PRG40, the plastic watch with the resin plastic band. And this looks more like that original watch than the newer Pathfinder watches that have non-rotating bezels and different things like that. This is a solar-powered watch, so you can see there. And I'm just going to take it off and hold it in my hands. The background is Manhattan right there. It's my office. So watch is in my hand. It's a little flashy. And you see there basic timekeeping mode with 6:22 p.m. and 53 seconds, 55 at the bottom there. With the date is June 2nd. And that's my current barometric reading, the graph that's there in this corner right there in that little shaded area. You could also change that shaded area to Sunday, day of the week. You could change it to the year, it's 2013. And back to barometric reading. Barometric thing, having it handy during timekeeping mode shows you, if you're hiking with this watch, it's pretty accurate in telling you what the barometric pressure is around you. And it's based off of that, it's going to be pretty accurate in telling you the direction the weather is headed. You can see my dots are going down. That's my issue with this barometric graph being so small. My previous PRG40T watch had the same barometric graph, same idea, but the graph was much bigger in barometric mode. When you put it in barometric mode by pressing that button there that says baro, the graph would actually be longer and bigger on this display. But here it's really tiny, and this graph is basically on the y-axis is telling you the time. So it's telling you 24-hour range from 0 to 24, with the end of the y-axis being the current information on the current barometric information towards the end of that 24 right there. I see my dot that's blinking, that's the current time, and everything before the blinking dot is what had happened earlier today or during the night. And the y-axis up and down is telling you the barometric pressure in the range is from 260 HPA to 1000 HPA. So it's a broad range of the pressure reading in the y-axis, and the x-axis is telling you the time of the 24-hour varying time. It's small, it's a tiny shaded area, so it's telling you a lot of information, use a little bit of space. And that, for me, is a bit of a flaw. It's easy to read. I'm not saying it's hard to read that screen, but as you can see there, it's usually a graph would give you a straight line across to show you kind of the weather pattern. But it's hard to deduct a pattern from looking at this graph, because as you see there, there's a big gap between my dot there and my 3 dots at the bottom end of that shaded area. So there's a big gap, and I don't know if the gap there is sort of referencing maybe there's a dip or some sort of I guess increase in pressure that's outside of this 260 to 1000 HPA range. I'm not sure what that gap there is. What exactly it means. The instruction manual does say it could be your watch wasn't reading during that time frame, or it could be the ranges read during this time period were outside of 260 to 1000 HPA. I'm not really sure what that is, but it's not consistent. It doesn't look clean. It just looks like, I'm not happy with it. I'm not disappointed either, and that's that. Since I'm in the ABC reading, I'm just gonna go. So that's barometric. Gives you the time while it's doing the reading as well as the temperature. And I'm gonna go to compass. You hit compass there. I see there's a nice rotating thing. And the compass, I'm gonna put this down so you get an idea of my issue with the compass. See there, the watch is stationary, but it's gonna always constantly move. I'm not nearby anything. I know the grate there is aluminum. It's not metal. But I'm not nearby. I'm in Midtown Manhattan, but it should still work. I've had other Pathfinder watches in the same office that were a little bit more consistent with the compass. So I'm going to go back to compass, I think. See that our watch is perfectly still, but the needle bearing will constantly move between 1, 3, 2, 5. It's always constantly moving. If I'm here or I'm in the woods. I did a review earlier this morning showing I was in the woods in the backyard of where I live, and it was doing the same thing. And again, within 20 seconds, it blanks out. So it makes it really difficult to kind of use this compass. And so you'd have to press that again. Of course, the watch will move. If you have this on a map or something like that, the watch is gonna move a little bit. And then again, now it's 0, 5, 11. It's just all over the place. Like, look at this. Even I know I'm in Midtown Manhattan, but I've had other watches. My PAW1100T, I've had that here. I didn't really do that. And it blanks out, so I have to press it again. So it's just constantly having to press that every 20 seconds to kind of see what you're doing, especially if you're moving a watch around on a map, or moving a map around, discussing a route with your hiking buddies, where you're going to go. And you kind of want to have this either, even if it's not reading and you have it stationary, you kind of want it to display your recently read data. So the watch is still, and it should show me something, but it disappears again, and I have to keep pressing the compass. It's a big gripe, and I think I'm going to return it just based on that alone. I don't really like that feature, and it just shows you nothing. I mean, it can at least show you maybe numerical information if it doesn't want to show you the indicator needle, but it shows you nothing. And it was told to me that it does this as a power saving feature. It's not a power saving feature under the power saving feature that you could adjust or turn on and off, but it's a power saving feature that's inherent in this watch, in this module that Casio uses. But again, the compass is accurate from my time using it. And one more thing about the compass, the bezel on these watches are really loose. You hear a little clicking, but the clicking isn't anything to do with the bezel turn. It's just really loose. So it's like all over the place, and it's not really, it's more of a toy than something you're going to use to mark down your bearing. So I'm chasing this guy, this needle, whatever, but it's just loose. So don't expect that to be like the Rolex Submariner where it clicks and you could use it. You're not going to really use that for much because it's like it's really loose and it moves so much. So going on to altimeter, it's very accurate. It reads off the barometric reading. So I'm in a building about 600 feet actually from sea level where I'm sitting right here, and that's the ABC basically. Altimeter, it's what it is. You could also record your previous measurements in the altimeter and store it in the watch, which is kind of cool as you're hiking. So I'm going to go back to my time mode, and it also gives you I'm sighing because I'm not really excited about this watch at all. It gives you the sunrise, sunset, which is a feature I actually desired a lot when I was looking to buy this watch. I really wanted this feature, but now that I had it, I used it last week when I was hiking. I realized the way the seasons work and the way the sun sets and sunrise, it doesn't really change that much from a day-to-day basis. Whereas between June and October, these numbers would probably be very different, the sunrise sunset times. But within the month of June, the sunrise sunset time aren't really going to change much more than what you're seeing now. It's June 2nd, and it's been pretty much saying between 5:20 and 5:25, 8:20 and 8:25 for my sunrise sunset times. I've been saying that for like the last week and a half. I've had this watch, so it's a feature that's not really good. You're not going to push this button to get that reading and be surprised by, oh wow, the sun's going to set. Like, it doesn't really change that much from a week to week basis. So it's not like a feature you're going to use during a weekend backpacking trip or even during a week-long backpacking trip. Maybe I'm supposing if you do like one of those 90-day semester courses with Outward Bound or Knowles, then that could probably come in handy. Or if you maybe in South America or in a different part of the world, you're traveling like overnight, it possibly could come in handy. But for a regular basic backpacking feature, it's not something you're going to be like, oh, it's not going to be, the novelty wears off really quickly when you realize the sun rises and sets consistently over the course of a week. So within the season, so it's not like, it's not, no surprises in that feature there. Moving along, it has your basic, you could record your altimeter information, store it there, and come back to it. Hitting the mode button, world time. My time is set to London. My family is over there, so I usually set my time there. But it has, I think, 24 time zones or whatever. You could go through the whole thing, whatever. I don't really care. I have a few watches that does that, to do that, comes with that feature. Stopwatch, chronograph, whatever you call it. Basic, you've seen it before, whatever. Countdown timer, you've seen it before. Nothing special there, just regular stuff. The 5 alarm is really cool on this watch. You've seen it before. I think I've spoke about this in my other Pathfinder watches. And you have the hourly signal if you wanted to chime for the hour. Whatever on the hour, like if it's 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, or 7:31, 8:31, 9:31, whatever. And back to timekeeping. And that's pretty much it on this watch. The backlight is actually nice. It's nice and bright. It's not gonna, probably not gonna see it now because the flash of my cell phone camera is on. But it's basic stuff there. And that's it. It's easy to use. This watch is very light. The sensor on this watch is actually over here, so it's away from your wrist. And it's pretty cool. You can see the stainless steel back. This one is made in Thailand, actually. It's not even made in Japan. Some of these previous ones were made in Japan, but this one says made in Thailand. I'm not sure what that's about. I'm now curious. I'm now seeing that for the first time in the week and a half I've had that, so I'm gonna have to probably look that up online to make sure that this watch is not, bootleg version. But I bought this at Macy's in New York, so Macy's probably, I don't understand. I assume these watches were made in Japan. I'm not sure why this is made in Thailand. I'm not sure. All the previous Pathfinder Protreks I've had all had made in Japan on the watches, but this one is made in Thailand. Maybe that explains why the bezel is so cheaply put together. It just spins in this watch. It's not, whatever. There's something else I was going to say about this watch. The titanium does scratch and stuff. Like if you go rock climbing or do anything rigorous outdoors, expect it to scratch a little. Titanium is not scratch proof, so you see there's little marks right there. I put tape over this because I might want to return it. I'm not sure, but yeah. And other than that, it's a really light watch to wear. It's a good looking watch, I think, in my opinion, if you want a rugged outdoor watch. I really don't like the Sunto watches for their appearance. It has like this modern aesthetic, appearance. It looks too like you're wearing an iPhone in your wrist. The Sunto watches have that effect, I think, but I like this one. It's more old school. It looks rugged. It looks like it will last the test of time. And that's it. Another thing about the bezel is plastic, and it feels plastic, it looks plastic, and it has this plasticky-ness to it that carries over to the watch. And I don't kind of like that. I wish the bezel was more like steel, even if it's a polished steel or a shiny steel or a chrome steel. But it being plastic, it just kind of makes the watch look cheap a little bit. It gives it like the effect like it's a toy watch more than a titanium, high-grade watch. And the buttons are pretty, it's a well-built watch. You see, I like the buttons have little roughness to them for grip, which is cool. and that's the PRG or PAG. These also go under the name of PAG, but this one is, I completely forgot. This one says PAG240T. You see there, right there? This is the PAG240T. There's also a PRG240T. I think that's sold overseas, but this is the PAG model. And that is my review on it. I might do a quick unboxing review, but I'm not too happy with this watch. I think my original Pathfinder watch, the PRG40T, is one of my favorite watches, and I'm so sorry I sold that watch on eBay to buy these newer ones. I had a PAW1100T a while back, which I sold because I was very disappointed in that watch for not really doing anything. And this watch, I'm a little disappointed in the compass not being useful. The compass is not useful at all. It's accurate, but it's not useful. It's like the watch is purposely designed to not enable you to read the compass or use the compass. It's like you have the loose bezel that doesn't work. You have the constant moving around of that indicator and the numbers, and then it disappears after 20 seconds. So it gives you 20 seconds to lay your map down and do your reading and have your map discussion with your hiking partners. And 20 seconds, that's it. It's gone. I don't like that. People are telling me in the forums that it's there for a reason. It's a good thing. They prefer it to blank out so you don't like move the watch accidentally and not realize that it was, it's still stuck in a previous reading. But normally on the older Pathfinders, it would finish reading after 20 seconds, and keep the final reading on the display. So I could have my watch down stationary. It'll find the reading, stick to that reading, and then lock it on as a permanent display until you went and either push the compass reading button again or just clicked out of it. So, but here it just disappears. It doesn't keep it on the screen. So I don't like that. But that is my review, and I'm going to end there.